Once a prison for the living, the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield is believed to be haunted by its former occupants. Thousands of convicted felons, now a spiritual lockup where no soul is getting out. Many consider this is one of the spookiest abandoned buildings in the US, and there are wild claims about this piece of neo-Gothic architecture, sounds of chains dropping on the floor, sinister growls, unexplained footsteps, tormented voices, and sudden church bells. However, no one seems to be able to explain the spectral happenings.
There were a number of deaths here on the premises. This was a place of a lot of violence and a lot of suffering. This was not a happy place.
This closed prison is active with paranormal activity.
I have never seen an apparition or a shadow person until one night sitting right here.
Paranormal investigator Craig Fakatic says the former prison is one of the eeriest places to be.
As I'm sitting here, I see a shadow figure come up the stairs, take a right, walk down the hallway.
What did you do at that point?
I'm like, holy crap, did I just see that?
Visitors have claimed they've experienced the incomprehensible.
As I'm contemplating what I saw, I heard growling coming from the middle of the room. I'm like, that wasn't good. But shortly after that, I heard church bells.
The former prison was built between 1886 and 1910 and designed with medieval influences to look like a fortress so no one could escape.
More than 150,000 inmates passed through the gates of the Ohio State Reformatory in its 94 years as a state prison.
Men were incarcerated here that, had terrible pasts and had a really awful time here. There was a lot of violence in the cell block.
If this ghostly stomping ground looks familiar, you've probably seen it before. In the movies, it was a set for Air Force One and most notably, The Shawshank Redemption. In reality, it was originally meant for inmates with first-time non-violent offenses.
You hadn't completely messed up your life. There was still hope for you to go on to live, a law-abiding life outside of the reformatory.
But that changed in 1930, when one of the worst prison disasters in American history took place. A fire at the Ohio State Penitentiary in Columbus killed 320 inmates.
They had to find other prisons within the Ohio prison system.
The paranormal investigator adds that some of the surviving inmates were transferred to the reformatory building.
These inmates coming from the Ohio Penitentiary, they're your worst of the worst. They were your rapists, your murderers, your lifers, your felons. This is where they housed them.
More than 200 people died in this complex, and many people believe the souls of the dead still haunt the prison corridors.
Is this the most haunted place in America?
In my opinion, yeah. If it's not the most, it's up there for sure. Honestly, as I was sitting waiting for when you guys were outside filming, there were footsteps on the stairs going up into the central guard room.
There are claims that detail disembodied moaning, bowls of light, and phantom smells.
Can you smell it? Oh yeah.
The smell of a campfire vivid as we walk to the attic.
This place is a really violent area. And this is one of the places where you do want to treat them with respect. I believe that smell that we smell is from the inmates who came from the Ohio Penitentiary. You know how your clothes smell after sitting around a campfire? If they're coming from the fire, if their clothes are all smoky and they still have those clothes with them, I believe that's what that is.
This is where the most paranormal activities have been recorded. After checking the video footage we shot, this strange image, small balls of light moving around in one of our video clips.
I wouldn't.
That was a noise, was it?
Yeah, we'll hear a lot of noises here. So you hear it sounds like movement.
Many of the inmates who were in this former prison had tragic deaths. Many of them dying because of illnesses, some of them were murdered, and some of them even driven to insanity. There's at least one report of one inmate who lit himself on fire, and that's a common belief amongst paranormal investigators. Men who once suffered in life, and now their souls stuck here, serving for all eternity. In Mansfield, Ohio, and Maxwell, Jersey, Newsy.